Welcome to the Creed channel. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Courtney Deshawn Reed, and I'm gonna take you along this journey that I know is gonna help a lot of you fellas. I mean, if you know me or you remember who I was, I don't look like I used to. In fact, I look like two totally different people. But what some people don't realize is that I've always fluctuated over the years, just depending on the season of my life. So I think in this season of my life, I definitely want to stay the way I am at this time. So I know some of y'all might have seen some of my videos on TikTok and IG, and then you'll remember me like, dang, he spent some game, but I remember him. Yeah, same DNA, but just a different person in general. So a lot of y'all might remember me, 312 pounds, real big guy. Either you saw me on the corporate side in HR, or you saw me in a store, doing my thing, learning the operations, in automotive retail. But since then, took a different path and still doing my corporate thing, but on a different level this time. If you know me, I'm always gonna look for a way to progress. And hey, hustlers don't die. We'll go down, but we always find a way back up. So still in the same career field, but making my way up in another way. So whenever you get to 312 pounds, life can really make you look at stuff different, especially when you touching paper, right? Being in the car business allowed me to make a shit ton of money. I'm talking, high six figures every year compared to where I've come from and compared to how I grew up, right? You know, Small town, Aiken, South Carolina, everybody know everybody. I mean, it ain't small, but it ain't big either. But that's where I'm from. That's where my roots are. But by way of having my family in Dallas, Texas now, that's where I'm, raising my family and gonna continue to be. But right now I'm over across seas in Europe, doing my thing, going up the ladder, doing whatever I got to do to be awesome in my career. So I was always camera shy because I was 312 pounds. Just some not religious stuff, but I always felt like, oh, taking pictures and doing videos, it messes with you. It messed with me because I was fat. Let's be real, right? When you that big, you don't like certain camera angles, or you don't like how stuff fit, you don't like how stuff look. But growing up in South Carolina, I had an auntie who'd always talk about roots and pictures and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stay away from that. It just stuck with me my whole life. But being 312 pounds for a couple years, man, it definitely did some damage to my life in general. Health wise, I had a health scare back in 2019. I had a pulmonary embolism, and out of the blue, one day I'm just walking up the stairs and I just couldn't breathe. Like, it was horrible, the worst pain I ever felt. And then it was a lower pain in my back. I thought maybe I pulled something. I thought maybe it was something bad. So I literally slept that entire weekend. I didn't get out of bed. I just slept, was sweating in my sleep, all type of shit. So I'm thinking maybe I got the flu or something, it's got it passed. So that Monday, I felt okay. I felt good enough to walk without it hurting. So I said, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and go to work. So by the grace of God, I was paying attention. I was just aware that morning. I go into my bathroom. We was living in apartments at this time. My lady was asleep, and she was pregnant with our baby, who's 6 now. And I went into the bathroom. I coughed. I was like, I coughed real good, and then something told me, hey, normally I usually, hey, just move on, swallow your shit, move on. Now something told me to spit it out, so I did, and it was dark red blood. I was like, whoa. So my stupid ass still went to work, because back then I cared about how I was perceived by people that I work with, and then just people in general. That military mindset, if you hurt or you push through it, you don't want nobody to think you weak or fucked up. So I go to the meeting, and then I tell my my operations president, I said, look, man, I got to go to the hospital. I got to go. He said, no, handle your business. So I get to the hospital, walking in kind of slow. The lady said, hey, you need to sit down. I was like, what's going on? She said, you said your back hurt and you shortness of breath. I said, yeah. So I didn't know what was going on. They immediately put me in the MRI machine, and like 10 minutes later, they rushed me to the back. It's like, hey, lay down. Do not make any sudden movements. I said, all right. They come in with like 8 needles and shoot them all in my stomach. And I'm like, what the hell going on? And it's like, look, you have a pulmonary embolism. I was like, what is that? She said, it's a blood clot the size of a $50 trying to make its way through your lungs. I was like, oh shit. So, and this is around Christmas time of 2019. So imagine, you not knowing if you're going to live, because she told me, like, if you would have slipped and fell, you would have died. I was like, for real? She was like, yes. She was like, somebody either been praying for you or God got his hands wrapped around you real tight. And that was a real health scare. I was able to be released a couple of days later, just getting all the blood out my lungs and stuff. And I was truly blessed. But not realizing how blessed I was, I still didn't take my health that serious. I felt like, hey, I got time, I can do this. So since like 2017, when I got out of the military, man, I just kept packing on weight because I had money. I was like, hey, I got a girl, I got money, I can do what I want to do. Even when I was down sometimes, I still had bread. So whenever you touching paper, you feel like you can really do whatever the fuck you want to do. And it gave me a sense of like just arrogant. I wasn't mature enough to handle that kind of money. And when I look at it now, I feel like God was basically tempering me to be like, look, I'm gonna bless you with this, but you need to know how to handle yourself. And I didn't know how to handle myself. So you fast forward, let's fast forward 2025. Truth be told, one day, I'm just sitting here and my lady had came to visit me or whatever. And I was just like, you know what? This something ain't right. I just don't feel right. I didn't like the way I looked in videos. I didn't like the way, I didn't want to take pictures with her and stuff. So when she left, I was like, you know what? I'm not about to go out like this. Like she can't be the only sexy motherfucker in this relationship. Dang how it's gonna be, right? So that's what I'm thinking. So in July of last year, I was like, you know what? I'm about to get my shit together. And keep in mind, you think you know about fitness until you realize you don't know a fucking thing. And me going on TikTok, it was some fat dude saying, hey, if you walk 10,000 steps a day and you only eat 1 meal a day, oh man, you'll lose 50 pounds in 90 days. So I was like, damn, and keep in mind, throughout this time, I hadn't bought programs, started and stopped. I didn't have a discipline. I wasn't committed because when you can go and eat whatever you want because you can afford it, or you can go and do and buy whatever you want, you're not thinking about your health. You're just thinking, shit, I'm the king of my whatever I survey. I can do what I want. So that wasn't my mindset back then. But I was listening to this asshole on TikTok. I don't know his name, but he was like, you can lose 50 pounds in 90 days. Just eat 1 meal a day. Oh, man. And you get to and walk 10,000 steps, you're going to lose all this weight. So I'm like, all right, cool, deal. So I started, I'm glad I started that way. It's all going to tie in. Walk with me, right? So it all tied in. So I got real disciplined. I was only eating 1 meal a day. I was walking 10,000 steps, you know what I mean? And I was doing it for about a good 2.5 months. And, I seen the scale going down a little bit. I was like, okay, so, 299, 295, 290, 280, 283, up, then down. So I was like, okay, I'm doing okay. But the one thing that fucked me up was when you walking in the streets of Poland, sometimes they got these kids out here who will take pictures of you and put it like on a magazine or a newspaper and give it to you. You just got to donate a little something. So I did it and I looked at the picture and I'm sitting here thinking, oh, I look better than what I used to. I ain't look no fucking different. And it fucked with me because I was like, what the hell? Like I've been doing what this dude said. I've been eating 1 meal a day and I'm walking 10,000 steps a day. I'm even walking to the gym just to walk on the treadmill. Now, how fucking stupid do that sound, right? It's gym equipment in there. But me being retarded, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to do what he said. I'm going to follow directions. So I was like, man, I'm just going to do it. Come November, I get down to 259. And I was like, dang, but I still don't look aesthetic. Like, what the fuck? I got all this good shape under me. What the fuck? Why it ain't being revealed? So I just happened to go through my emails one night, and then I saw an email from my trainer, my first trainer, Tony Drake. I had enlisted Tony Drake back in 2023 when I thought I was on my health kick, and he had always gave me game, man. He was a real motivator. Great guy there in San Diego, man. Shout out to Tony Drake, man. He's an awesome guy. He really truly is, and I'm very proud of what he's doing. But then I was like, why don't I just go back to Tony? But I was like, nah, I ain't got that kind of money. Well, I had it, but I put myself in the mindset that I needed to be broke, that I have to think that I'm broke so I can, save some money and do some stuff. But I ended up doing some other shit with the money. That's a whole nother episode, which led into some other bullshit in my life, right? So I ended up scrolling down some more, and I ran into my man Luther Vesulian. I started rocking with Luther Vesulian back in 2024 when I thought, once again, I want to take my health seriously and do all this shit, right? So I ended up reaching out to him. I said, yo, Luke, man, I've been walking for 90 days almost, about 3.5, 4 months. I ended up losing 27 pounds, man, but it's like, I'm not getting that look I want. And he told me, he's like, bro, you got to pick up the iron. I was like, man, he's like, look, if you lock in with me, you going to be all right. I said, I ain't got shit to lose. Fuck it, right? So December 8th, 2025, I was like, I'm going to pick up the weights. So I ended up following his routine. And I got to say, from December to January, I was like, I don't like this shit, because you waking up sore, you uncomfortable, right? And I truly feel like now everything that you want is on the other side of pain. You just gotta be willing to go through it. So I would say 4 weeks into my journey, actually taking lifting serious and going like I'm supposed to every day, really watching what I eat. He gave me the meal plan. I followed it to the T. I done went and bought a food scale. I'm weighing my foods. It's like I wanted to do something completely different than I've ever done before. I legit wanted to get something I never had. And to get something you never had, you got to do shit you never done. So I took it to the next level. And all this is going to tie in because I think God was preparing me for a season that I'm going through or whatever. And Luther would always post these videos on YouTube, giving stories about body game, telling people why men will be stuck, telling you the dark side of being lean and all this other shit. So to me, all this shit sound like a fantasy, because it's like, man, this shit ain't really happening for real. But I'm gonna lock in on what the fuck I'm supposed to do. Like Sean Reed gonna lock in on what the fuck Sean Reed's supposed to do. So between lifting weights, weighing my food, eating the right way, eating whole foods, like guys, those protein bars and shit, I don't fuck with them. If it's not a one ingredient deal, I don't fuck with it. I stay with strictly whole foods: chicken, salmon, shrimp, broccoli, green beans, potatoes, sweet potatoes, Greek yogurt, blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, honey, agave nectar. That is literally the same thing that I eat. And on my journey, I was like, bro, I don't got to keep switching it up. I don't care for variety. I'm not eating for taste. I'm eating for results. I'm eating for function. People say, oh, carbs are bad. Carbs. No, you need carbs, but you just got to know how to properly fucking use them. And that's what comes. People may think they know what to do. Just like I know that if my light bulb is fucked up, I know to change it. But if there's some internal shit going on with the wires, I ain't go to school for that. I'm going to call an electrician. So you may know calories in, calories out. And the calorie deficit determines whether you lose weight. But a coach will tell you your macros, so you burning fat, or you utilizing your fat storage instead of utilizing your muscle storage. They tell you shit that you think you know, but you don't know until they fucking tell you. So I had to humble myself. So I really started hitting it hard. And people say, oh, it take 90 days to start a habit. It took me 3 weeks to start that habit, because I refused to not go to the gym. I was like, this is going to become who I am. How I eat is going to become who I am. So I say, you know what, I'm going to stick to this shit. I'm going to ride with it. So essentially, January hit, January 9th. I ain't going to never forget it, man. It was a Friday night. Man, my lady called me on some bullshit, told me she didn't really want to rock with me or be with me no more. So, I did the typical shit that a motherfucker do. You start begging and pleading and shit, because I can't lie. When I was a bigger guy, I was insecure. I had money, so I thought that, hey, I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. Wasn't including, her own big decisions and stuff. Just not really, being the man I should have been. Not being the man that I am now, right? So, I took it real hard. But instead of me going to eat, instead of me starting to drink, instead of me starting to look for some stupid shit, I was like, man, you know what made me feel better? The fucking gym. So I realized I'm not about to go backwards, because for one, I'm not finna be down 3-1. I don't fucking care who the fuck you are, how much I love you. Fuck you at that point, right? I'm not gonna ever fall back on that shit. So for once in my life, I was like, you know what? Sean got to put Sean first. So I was like, damn, maybe that was my problem. I wasn't putting myself first, because if you look at the 312-pound me, you may have saw a smile. You may have saw me in the Lambo. You may have saw me in the Hellcats. You may have saw me in all these different things. But that was just to mask how depressed I was. Like, you could look at my body and see how depressed I was. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't respecting myself. So how can I expect my woman to respect me, and I wasn't respecting myself, right? And I come to find along this journey, our women are literally mirrors of how we treat ourselves, is how they end up treating us, right? And I'm not going to ever sit here and fault her or anybody else for the shit that I did and the decisions that I made. Sean Reed takes full accountability for not being the most present father and the most present man, because I was so caught up in balling out, making sure I can get them any and everything they wanted financially, that I missed the picture of being there as a man, as Sean, right? But Sean couldn't be there for them because Sean had some issues he had to deal with from his past that he kept running away from. That's why I went into therapy, right? And there was another catalyst that led me to go to therapy. So when I went to therapy, I learned a lot about myself. Hell, I hired a coach, the ultimate gentleman, Ken Hamilton, and Calm Authority with Ralph Frazier, great guys. I still talk to them to this day. And me and Ken actually developed a fucking friendship. You know what I mean? Like that's real for me, because it's really hard for me to let anybody in like that. But I ended up getting that news back in January, and it fucked me up for a little while. But every day I was still in the gym. Every day I was still weighing my food. Every day I was still eating right and just doing the things that I needed to do. I started leaning on God a lot more. Like, what are you trying to tell me? And what I come to find is that, one of my good brothers, Ian Wingfield, he's like, bro, God has been trying to reach you. All that reckless spending you was doing, all that gambling you was doing. He's like, and other things that you told me about that you was doing that nobody really know. God has been trying to reach you. So the only way he can reach you is through that lady. And I was like, well, he damn sure got my attention. And it shook me. And me being a semi-big nigga at the time, it's like, oh man, it's somebody else. It's this, it's that, it's the third. And then it plays on your mind because you insecure, because you still picture yourself as this 312-pound guy, not even looking at the progress that I was making physically, but I was only making progress physically. Therapy was helping, coaching was helping, but I wasn't receiving it because I was still so hurt. And normally my first instinct, you know what? One bitch want to leave me, go get 2 or 3 more, fuck it, right? But for the first time in my life, I didn't want to do that shit. I was like, you know what? I got to sit in this shit. I need to sit in it. I need to really come to know who I am without anybody else. I don't need validation from no bitch. I don't need validation from many bitches. I don't need validation from nobody but Sean. So I started picking up books like No More Mr. Nice Guy, The Way of the Superior Man, Ego is the Enemy, The Art of Seduction, the Sun Tzu's book, The Art of War, is like in Mastery by Robert Greene, The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. It's like you understand and you reading and picking up and reading these books. I'm like, damn, that's when I started the journal. That's when I started to try to understand the shit that I was reading and how I can apply it to my life. And even when I went home in April, I still figured, hey man, I'm still gonna try to make a gallant effort to just say this shit because that's my boo, that's my baby, I love her and shit. And then like when you see the shit up close and it's like, all right, cool. You did everything you could. This is the decision. All right, fucking roll with it, right? So once I left, I had already got in my head, Sean, you on the right path. You just got to keep doing what you're doing. It's okay to be in pain, fellas, because I was in pain for a while. But I can only imagine the pain that I was putting her through for a couple years, right? So I have daughters. And I definitely want, when they pick a man, I want them to pick a man that's going to take care of them, because they're going to be on my payroll for the rest of their life. I already know it. So I'm going to have to stay getting bread. So if they need something, want something, I got to be there for them. You know what I mean? That's the inside stuff for the dads and shit who got daughters. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But I had to realize I got daughters. I got a 17-year-old son who about to step into the world. And the example that he's been seeing for these last couple years ain't one of a man that I want him to emulate. I always said Cartier, that's my son. I always said Cartier was going to be Sean Reed 2.0. But Cartier's going to be Cartier. He's seen a lot. He had to mature very early because his mom passed away some years ago. And me and him always had a different kind of bond. And I kind of felt like I let him down when I got so fat. And now I'm realizing how I let him down. But when I came home and he told me, he was like, bruh, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, what you mean? He said, Dad, you did some shit. And he said it to me in his room. He said, Dad, you did some shit that 100% of the people in this world ain't willing to do. And that's humble yourself and work on yourself. And I told him, I was like, look, man. And he know I like to mask my pain with jokes. I was like, hey, man, you know me, man. If your mom leave, I got to get a battle. And he was just like, I know you don't mean that. I was like, nah, I don't. But for the first time in my life, guys, I'm taking full accountability. I'm not blaming nobody else for the things that's going on in my life but me. taking time to be by myself, like just isolated. When I get off work, I'm coming straight home. Either I'm jumping on a therapy call or I'm on with a coach, and I'm really learning about Sean Reed, about Courtney Deshawn Reed. I'm learning that life is going to be okay. And I'm starting to see certain benefits of being in shape that Luther was telling me about. And it's unfucking believable. Guys, if you got titties, if you got a big ass stomach, if you got rolls coming off your back, if your sides are protruding, that ain't it, my guy. That ain't it. If your woman telling you she love you the way she is, that bitch is fucking lying. And I only call her the B word because I don't know the bitch personally, right? I'm telling you, she is lying to you, because when a motherfucker leads with money, they already know what he gonna be there for. But when you have something that you can't buy, which is a dope ass body, people respect you more. Y'all have no idea. When I go places now, people remember me. They're like, damn, you don't even look like the same person. I'm like, nah, man, I had to lock in. And I got a sense of calm about me now. It's like certain shit don't bother me no more. I made a promise to myself, I'm not going to argue with nobody else, man. I'm just going to laugh that shit off, and I'm not going to go in that arena, especially with a bitch. You cannot be the woman in emotion, so don't fucking try it. Took me 37 years to figure that out. Some shit go haywire, you say something out the way. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to do my thing, but I ain't going to give that energy away no more. This was the man I should have been a long time ago. Instead of matching your woman's energy, you got to guide that shit. Because both of y'all can't be yelling and screaming at each other. Both of y'all can't be looking stupid. Let the bitch do that. But you as a man, you guide that shit and you make it better, right? So for me, I'm starting to see the other side of body game. And I'm not even where I want to be. But from 312 to right now where I'm at right now, at currently 206, it's a huge day and night difference. Ab definition everywhere. I'm fitting into large feeling a little too loose. Might have to go to medium. Face look a lot different. My presence is a lot different. It's cool. But now I feel like my mind is catching up to my body and my body catching up to my spirit, because I don't get that anxiety feeling when certain people call me no more. I don't care what people say or think about me no more, because I'll just look at you and I'll say, hey, you know what? God bless you. And if you got anything against me and you don't know me, that's cool. Fuck you. I'm still going to live my life, and I want you to live yours. I'm hell bent on righting my wrongs financially. I'm hell bent on being a great example for my son. I'm hell bent on being a great man for my daughters. I don't know if my woman ever come back. If she do, that's cool. We have to start all the way over again, because we two different people now. But if she don't, I'm still going to grow and elevate. I never let nobody destroy me to where I can't rebuild and do what I need to do. Nah, dog. That nigga's dead. That fat dude is dead. I hate to say it that way, but he had to die in order for me to live. Big Sean had to go in order for the real Sean to show up and show out and do what the fuck I need to do. Not only for me, but for my kids, for my parents. It means a lot to me to be that guy. And I'm gonna tell y'all something else, fellas. We all gonna make mistakes. It's a lot of things that our dads didn't teach us because they didn't know. But now life teaches you some shit. You got to spread that knowledge to your kids, especially your sons, especially your daughters. People say, oh man, you only changed because you went through some shit. Yeah, so the fuck what? Who doesn't change when they go through pain? Any man that don't change when they go through pain, they ain't learned their lesson and they ain't with it. Everything I want is on the other side of pain. I'm mature enough to realize that now, and I'm mature enough to sit in it. Pussy is thrown every fucking day, but I'm not gonna sit here and jump at it, because it's like, bro, I done seen more ass in the toilet seat. That's not important to me right now. The only thing that's important to me right now is my relationship with God and being the man that my kids need me to be. Everything else is gonna fall into place. But fellas, don't forget this shit. God got to be the center of your life. He's got to be the one. Allah has to be the one, because when all this other shit happen around you, it ain't gonna matter, because God got your back. I'm still getting to that point. Hell, I just got to the point where I decided I ain't arguing with nobody else no more. It ain't that deep to me. If you need to win the argument, you got it. But I know I'm gonna say something once, and if it don't land, it just don't land. And I'm always going to get what I want. I'm always going to push myself to get what I want. And that's the best out of life. And if it mean I can't hold something, or if it mean I can't have something, then that's just God's plan. That's what it's meant to be. And I'm cool with it now. You know, I've done a lot of bad shit in my life. And I didn't want to say God gonna come back to get me, but I learned something from my homeboy Ahmad. He told me that David had a heart of God. And I was like, what you mean? I was like, David was a whoremonger. He sent his best friend to the front lines to get killed so he could fuck his wife. He said, yeah, but God didn't judge him for that. He still loved him because he knew he had a heart of God. I may be going through my David season in my life. I may be going through my Job season in my life. But I know one thing, I'm gonna get through it. And I'm gonna come back stronger than ever. I got my shirt on now because I'm still going through this process. But fellas, when I get to where I want to get, the world gonna see, and then you gonna come to me, and I'm gonna come, and I'm gonna talk to you. And if you going through anything like I'm going through, I'm gonna coach you out of this, because I truly feel like that's my calling in life, helping people. And for once, I'm not afraid to go after what I want. I'm not afraid to follow my dreams no more. Fuck a status quo. I'm gonna bust my ass to be the best one-on-one fitness coach I can be, the best one-on-one not mental health coach, because I ain't licensed to do it, but I listen to you. I help you figure some shit out. But I'm gonna be the best at it that I can be. If I fail, so fucking what? I'll try again. But I'm always gonna put myself first this time, and I'm gonna go after what I want. I'm gonna talk to y'all again, because this ain't gonna be the last time you see me. You might see this pretty motherfucker so much, you'd be like, man, I'm tired of seeing this dude, but he got a message. All the dudes I mentioned, man, I just want to thank y'all, each and every one of you, because y'all been with me through a real tough time. Most of you not even know what the fuck I'm going through. Crying in the gym. Yeah, I cried in the gym. Not because I was in pain, but because I was in pain. Real, not physical pain, but pain in my heart, pain in my soul, pain in my spirit. Because I'm watching my life that I built literally slip away because of who I used to be. And I can't blame nobody but myself. I said in a bunch of my other videos, man, accountability. And for once, I'm glad I took accountability. However it shake out, whatever the outcome gonna be, I don't even give a fuck no more. I just know that I'm gonna come out strong on the other side of this, and I'm gonna be okay. God got me. With that being said, don't play these fucking away games, y'all. Stick to what you know, learn what you can, apply what you do know to what you can. Y'all gonna hear me say that shit a lot. Don't play these fucking away games. That's probably one of my favorite lines in The Wire that Avon Barksdale told to Stringer Bell. And if you know, you know. But I'm gonna holler at y'all, and I'm looking forward to this journey with every single one of you. Like and subscribe. Follow your boy.